Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I haven't been here for a little while, been dealing with a little bit of things happening, um, sorting out, finding out about being neurodivergent and also being on the spectrum. So um, trying to sort out my life moving forward, what that means, etc., etc. Um, it's just been taking up a lot of bandwidth, so I haven't been able to be here. In the meantime, doesn't mean we're gone or that the channel has stopped. So, welcome. Let's see what Spirit has to talk to us about today. Okay. I tried journaling the other day. There was a bunch of like mumbo jumbo going on, and I've been really tired lately, and I wasn't sure what that was all about. I was talking to somebody yesterday and was like, I'm gonna take a nap for a little bit. I'm tired, and then Spirit came in and said, "Oh, we're gonna do a download for you." So I'm like, oh, well, maybe that's why I've been tired. So I'm not exactly sure what that download was all about. However, I do feel different, better, clearer in my headspace. So that's good, right? So we're gonna light our candle, and we're going to invite Spirit of the highest vibration in. We're going to invite in all of our angels, all of our ascended masters, all of our whoever it is that you pray to, Divine Mother and Father, gods, goddesses, whoever, right? Because this is a reading for the collective, and it's not just one one spiritually oriented type of individual. So whoever is here, like, welcome, and hopefully you get something out of this message, right? So I'm gonna put a little candle over there, and we're gonna clear the space. Cast a circle to protect us. We cast a circle, and we create a clear space between here and the Spirit. And we ask that only the highest, the best energies be allowed to enter the circle of light in order to receive the highest and the best information for the collective, whoever it is that's here and listening. So let's see what's happening. When you riffle the cards, be careful it doesn't put your candle out. Just saying, it's a thing. All right. What does Spirit want to talk to you, the masses out there in YouTube land? What is this? Well, the cards are upside down a little bit, but we have the Ten of Swords first card, which is interesting because the Ten of Swords implies that you could be going through a very stressful time period right now. However, it was pointed out to me a short while ago that this guy, you see his hand there, he has the same, it's called a mudra, the way that he holds his hand like that. I don't know how to do it, but anyway, this is the way that he holds his hand is called the mudra, and it's the same symbol that he has in the Hierophant, right? And so the Hierophant card is about offering a blessing in a lot of ways as well, right? It's a direct download from Spirit. The Hierophant card is connected to a spiritual teacher, right? So, so even though this can be a stressful time, tens are actually, this is a Ten of Swords, so it's a lot about a thought process. So you could very well be going through a very stressful thought process trying to overcome some sort of a hump. Because when you think about like a regular playing card, right? It goes, you know, ace, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then to the jack, right? And the jacks are the same as the knights, right? So it's moving, it's kind of pushing you into more into an action state, right? So the way to get out of the stress of all this, right, is that because this is really thinking that we're not going to be able to move forward, thinking that everything is going to kind of turn to crap, and it's kind of like things may be falling apart, but it's kind of more like a blessing in disguise that things are falling apart. This is a 936, which adds up to a 9, right? 3 times 3 is 9. So this is really like a completion of a cycle. When you think of 10, right? It's a 1 and a 0. 1 is a new beginning, but it's with the 0 there, it adds on this sort of like karmic level kind of a situation connected to it, right? So, but it feels to me, just before I started the video, it felt like there was some kind of a reset getting ready to happen. We are having a full moon in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is a lot about like money, finances. It's a lot about, it's an earth sign, right? So like money, finances, things like that. But it's also related to your standing in the community, things like that. It's connected to your work and what you're doing in your work and stuff like that. So so there's a lot of stuff like that that's connected to it. I tell people I'm not an astrologer. I know enough to be dangerous, as they say. So there are plenty of YouTube videos out there about astrology and what the full moon in Capricorn is about for you specifically, right? But Spirit told me that we're having some kind of a reset, which would be happening on Friday. So that would be, that's tomorrow. Today's Thursday. It is, what time is it? It's 8:30 right now, Eastern Standard Time. So sometime tomorrow, I would say what Spirit is telling me is that after 2 a.m. that there is going to be some sort of a psychic reset happening. So I really wouldn't, I'm not trying to stress anybody. I'm not trying to stress anybody out, right? Or project information or anything like that. But don't be surprised if you don't sleep very well, or tossing and turning or something like that. Because if Spirit is trying to do this like download for you, then it could have you having like weird dreams and stuff like that. And so I would say write your dreams down, right? See what they mean for you. And I think in a lot of ways, if it's something that appeals to you, then having a dream journal could be an important situation for you. Like I believe in journaling anyway, so it's one of the ways that I channel the spirit realm on a personal level. So let's see what's going on here for you. What is that all about? So again, Capricorn, right? Earth sign. We're having the 9 of Pentacles here. 9 of Pentacles. This is the 77th card of the deck, which is a major karma number. And 7s are connected to the Chariot, which is 7. It's what I call the big 7. So the Chariot card is about moving forward, right? And oh, that's interesting. let's back up here for one moment because I'm being shown this thing. So the the Ten of Swords, all right, it is the 36th card of the deck, right, which is a 9, right? 9 is connected to the Hermit card, and the Hermit card is ruled by the sign of Virgo. I'm a Virgo, so it's me, right? But when you look at the Hermit card, he's at the top of a mountain, right? And that is a card that is connected to a completion of a cycle, right? It's like he climbed the top of the mountain and he's there and he has his lantern and he's kind of looking out and he's taking baby steps, right? The Hermit card is a lot about teaching people that you don't get to see who it is that you're teaching because you're more leading by example. So you could very well be in a place where you're feeling alone, right? And be like, oh, like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this, right? Hence all the stress, right? But you may be feeling like you're being alone, right? However, we have this mudra. So it's like you're receiving this download about what to do. So it's like kind of slow down, take a breath, right? And kind of feel, it's like this is about all being up in your head, right? So we want to counteract that, right? We want to kind of be centered more so in your body. And pay attention to how you feel, because how you're feeling in your body is going to guide you. When you're meditating, it's like you'll be able to see a clearer path forward, right? And that's what I'm being shown, so that's what I'm saying. Because you may be perceiving obstacles, right? But those obstacles may be obstacles connected to your past, not your future, right? And a lot of times when I see obstacles, I'm like, okay, maybe that's not really where I'm meant to go. Maybe there's a different path. So a lot of times, like, meditating helps me to see a different path. It gives me a different option, right? And so when you're receiving these downloads, possibly like interesting or weird dreams, whatever, right? They can be telling you a different path to go on, right? So, when you see double numbers, right? 7, 7, 3, 3, 4, 4, right? They're not really meant to be added together. So, but I did it with this card, so I'm just gonna say that, right? Interestingly enough, this is also a 9, right? But 77 comes out to 14, 1 and 4 is a 5, right? 5 is the number of change, but really this should not be changed like that. So we really should be looking at this as a Chariot card, which is about moving forward, right? A karmic way of moving forward, not just moving forward, but it's double 7s, so moving forward. And this is going to be a karmic lesson for you as you're moving forward. Part of the 9 of Pentacles here is about self-sufficiency, right? And there can be things that happen about changes connected to your home, stuff like that. But this is a card about self-sufficiency, right? Because it is about money, finances. This woman here, right, she's kind of living in the lap of luxury. She has her own money, right? This is something that she worked for, right? So, it's like you've gone through all of this stress, and so, because of all the work that you've done, and now you're kind of getting to a different place in your life, right? Spirit says that it's really important for you to own your own abilities, right? And especially owning your own like psychic abilities, because a lot of people want to say, oh, that's not real, or I'm not really hearing these messages, I'm not really feeling this way, this isn't really, these things are not really important, they're not valid, right? People want to kind of downplay those kinds of things, or they're going to listen to somebody else who's telling them that that's not real, that they're crazy and whatever, right? But you have to honor yourself, and you have to honor your own thoughts, and you have to honor your own feelings, and you have to honor your own path, because there's a lot of people out there that will have you trying to follow their path, right? And oh, well, just do this, just do that, right? Anytime I hear those words like just do this, I'm like, you need to stay over there. So, because sometimes those things are not really valid for me. So you have to decide for yourself. You have to trust your own instincts. You have to really see, like, where are you trying to get to, right? And is this a new path for you? Are you emerging? Are you blossoming as somebody that is new, right? There's a lot of alchemy that can be trying to happen for you right now, which is transformation, right? So, Pluto is going retrograde. Pluto is about power. It is about transformation, right? And so there's a lot of that is trying to happen in the world today. So it's a huge time period for us right now, okay? So what is next? All right, so 9 of Wands. Interesting. Because we're having these like nines, right? This is a card that has been coming up for me as like the wounded healer, right? When I see this card lately, right, it is a 9, right, which would suggest that it is a completion of a cycle on an energy level, right? And even looking at the card, right, it's this guy and he has all these wands behind him, right? So it's been telling me that you can't really go backwards. You have to move forward, right? And he's holding on to one wand, which is a new beginning, right? The Ace of Wands is a card that represents a new beginning. So this is an ending, but it's also a beginning, right? And it's the 49th card of the deck. 4, 9 is 13, which is the death card, right? Transformation, Pluto again, right? Because the death card is Scorpio, right? The death card is ruled by the sign of Scorpio. So, and it's interesting because 77, right? The 7, which is the Chariot card. The Chariot card is ruled by a sign of Cancer. So that is about your emotions, right? And the Chariot card does talk about moving forward in a more balanced way emotionally. And that's kind of like what it is that we're talking about here, right? So, and like we said, you're meant to be moving forward, not backwards. This guy here, he has those wands behind him, which suggests that he's not going backwards, right? He can't go backwards. There's a fence behind him, right? He can only move forward. And because this is the wounded healer, right, this is going to be a time period that would suggest that there is a wound in your life, and it may be how you move forward and how you've been stuck and all of that stuff, right? But you may, whatever the wound is that has happened in your life, it is now in the process of being healed, right? Because this is 49, right? But like I said, 4, 9 is 13, 1 and 4, or 1 and 3 rather. 4 and 9 is 13. 1 and 3 is 4. 4 is a number of stability, right? So we're in this place where we're trying to gain a sense of stability in our lives, like mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of these things, right? And Spirit says that the tides are turning for the planet, right? There's definitely being some kind of what they refer to as an upshift. They show me the planet and this kind of wave of emotion coming in, or a wave of energy coming in, and I feel like there is a healing that is trying to happen on the planet, number one. And number two, I think that there are, or at least what I'm being shown here anyway, is that there are additional guides, additional energy, additional entities that are coming to embrace the planet, is what I'm being shown. So I don't think that I've discussed this in other videos, but for a long time now I have seen our planet with, alien activity around it. Entities from other planets, entities from other dimensions, entities from other places, wherever it is that they come from, right? Being around the planet and trying to help the planet, helping to uplift the planet, right? Raise us out of the, some people would call it the dregs of society, right? But out of the chaos and confusion of the planet, right? Trying to raise our vibration, which has been happening. More and more, there are people on the planet who are, turning away from the chaos that has happened in their life and moving forward in their spiritual life, spiritual practices, things like that, right? Trying to heal themselves, right? Trying to heal themselves, heal their relationships, heal the world around them, right? More positive activities going on, things like that. And so now I'm feeling like there were just more entities surrounding the planet and really trying to help us and help us psychologically, right? Not just mentally, emotionally. Mentally can just be giving you new ideas, right? But helping the planet psychologically implies that people can have some sort of what would be construed as psychological issues, right? Mental health issues, things like that, right? And if there is psychological healing going on, then it can also imply that the people who are having those kinds of issues can find healing in those ways, but they can also be finding a way to be able to fit into society where they may not have fit in before, and they can actually feel like they're being more productive which is good for them, right? Yes, it's good for society, right? But when you feel like you are on the outside, right? When you feel like you have these sort of mental illnesses and stuff, you feel like you can be useless. So it can be important for an individual to feel like they're contributing somehow or another and it raises them up, right? And as we said, right, you don't know who it is that you're helping with this, with the Virgo thing there with the Hermit card. When you're doing things like this, right, being on the outside, kind of feeling like you're alone and doing something, you help other people to realize that they can also do things, be more effective in their lives and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of stuff like that, I think, that is going on, but also something that will be happening more so in the future. I think that this feels to me, I'm being told that this is something that has started in a bigger way since the beginning of 2023, but we're in 2024 now, and I feel like it's gaining more momentum, especially by the time we get into September. But then into like 2025, the world is definitely going to become, I know this whole impact, I think, is going to become more intense, more pronounced. People, what I'm being shown is that people who have been marginalized, people who have been, I'm just telling it like I see it, right? There's a lot of rules, regulations, government things, and I'm not saying this is just like, I'm in the U.S., right? But I don't necessarily think that this is just about the U.S. I think that this is something that is probably going to be happening more like globally. People who have felt like they have been oppressed, right? Whether that is mentally, emotionally, or however that is, right? I'm being shown that there's going to be an uprising. And I'm not talking about a civil war kind of a thing, but I am talking about these people whose voices have not been heard in the past because there has been a lot of shame around them, right? They have been attacked, they've been verbally attacked or abused or, whatever, right? But I feel like there are a lot of these voices that are going to, these people around the globe and stuff are like, like, I'm tired of being held down. I'm tired of being held back. I'm tired of being oppressed, right? And so the people, their voices are going to be heard, right? They're going to become more aggressive, putting their voices out there more, speaking up for themselves, speaking out against, these rules, these lawmakers that want to, hold them back, keep them down, like that kind of stuff. Because for a while I have been talking to people, not on this channel, but in other places, about how I don't really believe in oppression. I don't really believe in depression. Right? And people are like, oh, it's a real thing, whatever. However, I feel like a lot of times depression is really oppression, right? And it can feel the same, right? It's like, because depression is like, I feel down, right? But oppression is the same thing, but it's like I'm under somebody's thumb, like somebody's keeping me down, and I can't speak, and my voice isn't being heard, and I'm being like kind of, I'm put in this box and made to feel like I have to conform and I have to be a particular way, right? And so that would certainly lead to a feeling of being depressed, right? Because depression is really a feeling of being powerless. And so the way to rise up from that, the way to rise up from depression, the next step up from there on an emotional scale can be anger, right? And people they don't want to hear you like, oh, you're so angry, whatever, I can't do it, right? But you have to you have to move up the scale. And so that scale can be moving through periods of anger. Where's my notebook? Just want to show you something here. Okay. So there are 22 steps on the emotional scale. In the bottom is fear, grief, depression, and powerlessness, right? The next step up from that is insecurity, guilt, and feeling unworthy. The step up from that is jealousy. The step up from that is revenge, hatred, and rage. Above that is discouragement and anger. Above that is worry and blame. Above that is disappointment, doubt. Above that is overwhelmed. Above that is frustration, irritation, and impatience. Above that is pessimism. Above that is contentment. Above that is optimism and hopefulness. Above that is positive expectation and belief. Above that is enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness. Above that is passion. Above that is joy, appreciation, empowerment, freedom, and love. So you see, when you're moving up the scale, it can appear that you're being more negative. However, it's about having your voice and it's about moving towards enthusiasm. And it's more about like feeling love. When you can feel love for yourself, that's the top emotion, right? Love, joy, happiness, right? Empowerment. When you're at that point, right, then you feel joy and love for yourself and you can spread that to other people. So, but it can take time to get there from a place about, like this whole like depression and stuff like that. So, so I do think that between now and 2025, but like I said, this is something that's been going on. So I think there are a lot of people here who are rising up from their places of depression and oppression and things like that. And whether that happens with medication or not medication, I'm not telling anybody to go off their medication. I have, and I feel a lot better without it. So anyway, you do you. Take care of yourself in the best way that you know how for you. You know what I mean? So anyway, we'll see what the next thing is going to be about. What is that all about? All right. So this is interesting. This cards fell out. So it has to do with things that have been on hold and now looking at options. And it's interesting because it's going from the Page of Wands to the King of Wands, right? Things have been on hold, and wands are about power, right? So it's like things being on hold, and there's a growing up process here. There's a cycle of change where you're going from, like being held down, right? Taking a time out, right? Kind of meditation, things like that, right? But you can see that this person is more so physically inactive, more in their head, right? But then this card is about communication, about energy and communication, about power, right? But it's going from the page to the king, right? So there is that, and then we're moving from that into the Nine of Cups, which is about a wish, right? But nines are also completion of a cycle on, and this is the Nine of Cups, so it's about like completion of a cycle on an emotional level, right? So it's interesting because we do have the Nine of Pentacles, we do have the Nine of Wands, right? And essentially we're moving in, these three cards here are moving into the Nine of Cups. So that's being interesting. And so let's see one more card from this particular deck and see what's going to happen here for us, for you, us as the collective. So again, interesting, right? We're going into cups now, right? Which is more emotional fulfillment. And these two cards fell out here, right? So we have the Nine of Cups, and we have Page of Cups and the Knight of Cups. And as I said, Knights are more active, right? Pages are related to communications. They're talking about how you're feeling, talking about what your wish is, right? That's what the fish and the cup is. It's like, what are you looking at? What is it that you desire? What is it that you are focused on, right? And how are you going to move forward in order to get that, right? Cups are people who are more active. They are more about like their potential, right? What is that? Oh, this card was flipped around, the sun, right? Which is clarity, which is healing. This is the sun, right? We're actually at we're actually at the summer solstice, the sun, right? It's the most powerful day of the year. So that's pretty intense. So yeah. And the sun is 19, but 1 in 9, right, is 10, which comes back to a 1, right? So we are talking about independence. We are talking about, the self. We're talking about healing and healing the self, right? But as you're able to heal yourself, right, you're able to spread your sunshine towards other people and help them as well, right? There's a little kid here, right? There's a whole sense of like rejuvenation that is trying to happen here, right? All right, so let's see what's happening here with this other deck. We're at 38 minutes here, so I don't want to be spending like too much time. What is this card that is flipped over around here? Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords says to be clear about who you are and what you're about. All right. So, all right. Let's clarify the Ten of Swords. Clarify the Ten of Swords for Spirit. What is this all about? Hey, interesting. They say where I used to work, they say what falls to the floor comes knocking at the door. And the card that fell just happens to be Page of Cups. So now we have the Page of Cups twice. So the Ten of Swords is connected to the Page of Cups, right? All this stress, thinking that you're not going to be able to achieve what you're looking for emotionally, which is basically what we're talking about here, right? All right. So clarify the Nine of Pentacles for us. What is that card about? Let me know in the comments how you feel about people who shuffle until a card falls out. I see that a lot, and they shuffle really hard, right, until a card like comes out, right. But it's like, I don't know, it's a weird process to me. I just shuffle until like I feel like I'm done, and then just kind of pull a card out and see what it's about. The High Priestess, which is about spirit guiding you in the right direction, right? So we do have the Nine of Pentacles, right? Self-sufficiency, right? But as we said before, right, about like meditation and allowing your guides, right? This is a mystery of the unknown, talking about, you know, spirit guidance, stuff like that. And it was pointed out to me recently, a while back, right, that the High Priestess, there's no ceiling, right? So it's like, you know, not any limitations, right? We're not talking about the devil, which is about the limitations and restrictions, right? And I'm not talking about like the devil in like this like Catholic sense, right? The devil in the tarot card is about limitations and restrictions, usually self-imposed limitations and restrictions, right? It's a kind that's related to temptation, and it can be like ego, it can be related to, it's a kind that can be related to addiction, right? Kind that can be, which that is something that can be related to self-harm, stuff like that, right? Like drugs or sex, or just whatever it is that your addiction is related to, right? So this is something that is leading you out in a positive way to ascend, right? So as you're looking at what you have an ability, or what you have a desire anyway to achieve, the universe, the High Priestess, which I use for the goddess, she's guiding you towards a sense of fulfillment. She's guiding you towards this place here about oh my God, I don't have any idea what that's all about. Keep it outside. I don't know if we're having fireworks out there or what. Scared me. Anyway, blah 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 blah. Anyway, if you like what you hear, click like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff. Anyway, back to what we're talking about here. Clarify for us the Nine of Wands. Right? Clarify for us the Nine of Wands. Did we not talk about karma? Wheel of Fortune, things turning around in a more positive direction, right? Moving forward, not going backwards, right? This is, we're talking about the Nine of Wands here, right? And it's the Wheel of Fortune, like getting off of the merry-go-round, right? Karma, being able to move forward, right? This is a 10, again, right? And again, this is a 9, right? But again, the Eight of Wands is a card about communication, right? And we're talking about the Eight of Wands in back here, right? Eight of Wands, communication, talking about new beginnings, right? Wounded healer, right? So talking to people about what is your wound, how can we help, you know, things like that, right? But getting off of your own merry-go-round, right? Getting out of your own rut, being able to move forward, right? Things like that, right? And listening to spirit messages that would have been repeated, right? And also, if you've been looking at this thing here that you've wanted for a while, right? Maybe it's something that you wanted before or didn't think that you could get, and now it's coming back around you again. So, clarify for us the Nine of Cups. Show us the Nine of Cups. Clarify for us the Nine of Cups. Clarify for us the Nine of Cups. Interesting. This is persistence. The Nine of Wands is a card about persistence. It's a card about conflict, obviously, right? It's like, and what have we been talking about here, right? We've been talking about the people coming at you, right? That's what these other 6 wands are about, right? They're the villagers coming at you with their pitchforks and the hoes and the shovels, right? And you know, the people who are coming at you, right? Who are trying to get you to fit in, right? And you're sitting here by yourself, and you're like, I don't want to be a part of your group, right? And they're like, no, but you have to, right? And they're like, no, I don't, right? So there's persistence, right? And like that's what we're talking about here, right? And so you have your wish, right? The wish card is not so much, oh, I have this wish about this, that, the other thing, right? But it is about the energy that you're putting out, right? And if you're putting out this energy here, persistently putting out this energy, then you are going to be able to achieve your wish, right? You're going to be able to achieve that which you were looking for. So that's interesting. All right. So what is the information that we need to know about this Page of Cups? The 2 Page of Cups, actually. What do we need to know about this Page of Cups? Show us about the Page of Cups. What are you? The Magician. I was thinking about the Magician earlier. The Magician is ruled by Mercury, right? Communication. And this is also a 1, which is about the self, right? So this is about you having all the tools that you require to manifest that which you desire, right? Now, the downside of the Magician, when it's reversed, if you read reverse, right? The downside of the Magician can be manipulation, right? But what this is telling you is that you don't need to manipulate, right? That you have the power, you have all of the tools, right? The Magician wields the wands, the cups, the pentacles. Where are you? The pentacles and swords, right? He has all of the tools. I mean, and he has this infinity symbol. So, and he has all of this growth beneath him, etc. Right? He's all about as above, so below. High Priestess, right? As above. Right? So he's about manifesting things, right? So the things that you are, he's connected, this is connected to this Page of Cups here, right? So the things that you're looking at here that you are wanting to desire, right? From an emotional standpoint, right? You're being able to manifest these things. How awesome is that, right? Because you also have the wish card there, right? You have things turning around in a more positive direction here, right? So show us about the Knight of Cups. What do we need to know about the Knight of Cups? So I just want to show you this thing here, right? The Knight of Cups is this river in front of him, right? So he is going to go through right, I just want to show you this, right? So this is the guy who has this, he has this wish, right, about this, whatever the fish is, right? Whatever his goal is, whatever his desire is, right? He's sitting there, right? The knight, he doesn't have that in there, right? But he does have the wings up here, which is a representation of Mercury, it's about communication, right? So he's on his quest to achieve the thing that the Page of Cups was looking for, right? So he's going to have to cross this river here, right? Which implies that he's going to have to go through some sort of an emotional change in order to achieve what he's looking for, right? And he's going to have to communicate Mercury, right? He's going to have to, in order for you to manifest what you're looking for here, right? you're going to have to communicate what that desire is, right? And then it will be able to be realized over here, right? The sun, right? So show us about show us about the Knight of Cups, right? Horses do represent power, by the way. Like if you have a totem animal that's a power, that if you have a totem animal that is a horse, that represents your power. Google that. Google what the totem animal of horse is all about. Part of it is connected to Sagittarius, which is the traveler. All right. What do we need to know about the Knight of Cups here? Show us about the Knight of Cups. Did we not talk about alchemy? Did we not talk about transformation? Did we not just talk about Sagittarius? The Temperance card is fire, right? It's the triangle there. That's a symbol of fire. That's a symbol of power. This card represents Sagittarius, but this is a card about alchemy. And the Crowley deck, it shows mixing two different elements, right? It shows about mixing ice and fire, right? Mixing two different things that don't necessarily go together, have it become a third thing, right? And you can see the sun rising in the distance, which is in the next row after this, right? So moving forward, going through this emotional sort of change here, right? Hence transformation, right? Another person here, foot in the water, put your feet in the water. Right, being able to manifest transformation. And this is a card that is it's temperance, right? Which is it is a card related to balance and stuff like that, right? But this is a card about healing. So, and we did talk about like healing people, like mental health issues, emotional, right? So whether you're healing, and we're talking about the wounded healer over here, right? So, you know, there's definitely a lot of that is in the process of happening here, right? And that the sun is in the next row here, right? And that is what the sun is all about. It is about like health and healing and wholeness, and it's all of that. So, and we did talk about things happening in 2025, right? So we're at the summer solstice now. So I think that part of this is talking about where we are now to the next summer solstice and all the transformation that has been in the process of happening here, right? Because when you look at the first cards that we had, right, this is 36, which is a 9. So it's like we've already been in this process of completing a cycle around our life. So we've completed one cycle, and now we're in process of going through a huge, I can't even tell you how big this feels to me. Like August, September, wow. It feels really, really intense by the time we get into September. This is June, July, August, September. That's the next 3 months. God, I feel so overwhelmed by the transformation that is trying to happen and between now and September. So show us what is happening for the sun here. Show me about the sun and this rejuvenation. Ten of Pentacles, which is Ten of Pentacles is wealth, right? But it's not just wealth, right? It's financial security, it's home, it's real estate, right? So it is about you taking up space on the planet as well, right? But Ten of Pentacles, I also use about like legacy, so making your mark on the world, but also because it's related to like inheritances and stuff like that too, right? So you can see it's all the people in the background, and you can see the old man over here, right? It's like his legacy that he is leaving. It's like his family that is receiving like the inheritance that he had over here, right? And so, and you can see like the blue over here, right? These are cornucopias. Well, actually, that's like his cape, the guy's cape on the back. But yeah, there's all these like generations here anyway, and so yeah, there's home, there's a wall there, right? A castle, which is, you know, which is why it symbolizes like real estate, things like that, right? I'm not gonna take back the cornucopia statement, even though it is the guy's cape, right? Because this is about wealth, right? This is financial security, right? And how is that not a cornucopia, right? So we have like clarity, healing, right? And so it's going to be clarity about how you can make your mark on the world, right? What is your place in the world, right? And being able to be secure in that place in the world as well, right? So, and there can be transformation physically and also financially as well, right? Because as I said, or as Spirit said, if we're talking about how you're able to be productive in the world where you have not been able to be productive before, right, then there also comes like financial security, right? There becomes clarity about how you are able to make money, how you can have financial security in the world, like all this kind of stuff, right? But even if you don't have these kind of like mental health kind of like issues, right? You know, if you are neurotypical, right, then I feel like you're still going through these transformations. I feel like you're still going through these places about like, oh, I didn't think that I was going to be able to succeed. You know, all these people trying to hold me back, and you know, the glass ceiling situation, right, which is typically a thing that women talk about, right? But I think that men can get that too, right? Because if you have like these like CEOs, right, and it's like, oh, they've been in these jobs for 30 years, and you know, there's no way I'm going to be able to move forward, right? The limitations and restrictions, right? So, but then you have these dreams, right? But by communicating about them to the appropriate people, you go through transformation, and then you will be able to get those things as well. Maybe you'll start your own company. Maybe you'll invent something, right? Maybe because this is about creativity, right? You know, things that have once been holding you back, that's the message that we're talking about here, right? The things, the people, places, things, situations, right? The things that have held you back, I think that there's going to become, over the course of next year, by the end of 2025 into, I would say into February of 2026, I think there's going to be a lot of transformation happening here, and I think there's going to become more of an equal playing field. I mean, because Pluto is in play. Pluto is about transformation, it's about power, and it has changed signs, right? It has recently moved into the sign of Aquarius. It stays on one side for 20 years. So, like, it had moved into Capricorn. Now it's, well, it had moved into Aquarius, and now it's going to, it's retrograde, right? Where are you? It went from, I'll look at my other iPad over here. It was in Capricorn, and then it recently moved into the sign of Aquarius. Now it's retrograde, so it's going to move back into the sign of Capricorn. And then when it goes direct, it'll move back into Aquarius, right? So it's going to take 20 years going through the sign of Aquarius. So whatever that is all about for you, right, in your chart. So it's interesting. I'm not going to go into all of that because that can be a whole other video. Anyway, thank you for listening. We're now at an hour and 1 minute 25. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you like what you heard, click like, subscribe, share, right? All of that. Yeah. Thank you. Take care. Be well.